Welcome to another episode of Dr. Brooke on the Block. It's time to grab a seat, buckle up, and take a ride with me through the wild, wild west of the Web3 universe, where we're going to learn all about coins and tokens, NFTs and contracts, digital real estate and the metaverse, and so much more. There's a lot to get through on the block, but I am here to pave the way and help you avoid those nasty pitfalls and rug pulls so you don't get hurt. I'm going to also introduce you to some interesting characters along the way. Are you ready? Your ride starts now. What's up? What's up? Welcome to another episode of Dr. Brooke on the Block. I am joined with my co-pilot here, Valerie Carrillo. She is the founder, that's what I call her, of San Diego NFT Friends, and spoke at San Diego NFT Con, which is where I actually first got to see you on stage, getting to talk about what San Diego NFT Friends is and what they're doing and how everybody is working in community and building some amazing projects together. So welcome to the show, Valerie. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you, Brooke. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so I love to, first off, with my co-pilots, I love to ask them their story. Like, how did you enter this wild, wild west of Web3, and where do you see yourself going from here?
Yeah, so my story gets a little deep. It's a little personal, but I don't mind sharing it because it is part of my journey. So my journey started last year in the beginning of May of 2021. I was in the middle of finishing up my first year in my sports medicine program at Point Loma University.
Yeah.
So I was at a cafe studying for a final, and my boyfriend Keegan comes into the cafe and makes me drop everything and is like, "Oh my gosh, Valerie, you need to get into NFTs. You need to get a Coinbase, a MetaMask, A, B, C, and D." And I was just like, "Slow down. What are you talking about? And leave me alone because I'm trying to study for my final here." And he just kind of goes into, Gary Vee, who he's been following Gary Vee for the past 8 years. So I knew of Gary Vee, but I didn't follow him like he did. So he said that Gary Vee was going to release a NFT project called Veefriends. And I said, okay, well, why should I care? Like, I don't follow Gary Vee. And he kind of opened my eyes into like, this might be the opportunity to start investing and start, dabbling into that. And so for me, that was kind of what lit the light bulb in my head, because at that time, I was actually really struggling mentally. I had just lost my mom unexpectedly the year before in 2020.
Sorry.
Thank you. And so I was going through my first year of my master's program, just trying to get through that first year and not really knowing how I was going to make it. I have a younger sister who's 10 years younger than me. And so it's just her and I. And so I was like, how am I going to support her and us? And so when Keegan told me about NFTs, that's kind of when I was like, okay, I'll just give it a shot.
Very cool. So at that point, when Keegan said all that and you got your MetaMask wallet set up, you went through, I'm sure, a lot of barriers to entry, especially last year. Things, they're working on getting the onboarding process a little bit less intrusive per se, like not intrusive, I don't know if that's, but less complicated. And so I'm sure it was quite a little bumpy ride through the process of kind of getting everything set up and getting that first NFT.
Yeah, it actually was, because here I was, a full-time student, didn't have a job, so I was living off of my savings and my loans. And so at the time, he told me that Gary Vee recommended getting between 0.5 to 1 ETH. And ETH at that time was a little over $4,000. So that was a lot for me to put into some new platform that I've never even heard of before. And so I was very hesitant, and I said, I don't think this is for me. I think I'm going to have to skip out on this opportunity. But he said, you know what? Don't worry. Gary Vee is actually going to do a giveaway just get in his Discord. So I even had to learn Discord. I didn't even know what Discord was before.
Right.
So I made my Discord account, and even before I really got to understand deeper about what NFTs were, the community is what like really attracted me into the space. Because I actually made a really good connection with a girl. She goes by Lab Chick on her social medias, and she had expressed just in the chat how she was doing research on sepsis, which was what my mom had actually passed away from. So I felt really connected to these strangers that I did not know their real names. I didn't know their, where they lived, but we were all there like looking for newer opportunities and just taking a dive into what NFTs are.
Right. So, okay. So to kind of jump or piggyback off of what you just said.
Sorry, hold on. It's hot in here. So yeah, it's summer and the AC is not working. So if you see me, I'm wearing a tank top, but
You're good, girl. You're good. I know the feeling. It is very hot here in San Diego right now. And I know for those of you who are listening who might be experiencing different kind of weather, and we're both complaining about San Diego weather, please forgive us, okay? Because it really is hot here.
It's hot and humid. It's sticky.
It's very hot and humid for sure. So you mentioned, you got involved with a sense of community, or got involved into a community once you got into Discord and figured out the whole monster in and of itself of Discord. And Discord, it's kind of funny to have this conversation with you, because I had a lot of friends on Discord that were into the anime or to like the different gaming spaces. And so now when they see me and I'm getting all these Discord notifications, they're like, what are you doing on Discord? I'm like, listen, it's the Web3 space. Like, this is where you hang out. Discord is the place to be. And if a project doesn't have a Discord, it's almost like, ooh, what kind of rug pull is that?
Right.
Yeah. So when you say like you were learning about what NFTs are, I want to know from your perspective, why now that you've had over a year being like really trenched into the space, why you think NFTs are where it's at, and like what you can share with somebody who might be like where you were in May, where I was early in 2021, where I was just like, what in the world like is happening here? So what would you, first question is why NFTs? And then the second latter part is like, what would you say to somebody coming into that space?
Yeah, well, I guess this kind of continues on with my journey because, after I joined that Discord and I connected with the community, at that point, I still didn't have an NFT, but it gave me the time to ask questions. So I was in the Discord asking questions, and really everyone is like super early. Really, I mean, you're going to hear that a lot in the space when you're coming into the NFT space. You're going to hear that a lot, that we're early, but truly we are. And so there really is no stupid question. If you need to ask even the basic, like what is cryptocurrency? How do you even get cryptocurrency? It's really important to understand the foundation. So you're understanding what you're doing, because it is your money that you're using if you're going to be buying NFTs. Right. So I really took the time to understand. And then also observe. So, like I said, I didn't know Gary as well, but I started following him. I resurrected my Twitter. I hadn't had my Twitter open since 2013. So then that's when I discovered, wow, this is where it's all happening. Right. There is a whole hashtag NFT community space where your feed will be filled with news and scandals and everything you think of in the NFT space, really.
Absolutely.
And so, that's where I also got a lot of my information. And I started following Gary Vee, started listening to the things. So he had always said, make sure you do 50 hours of research. And so I took that seriously. And that research to me was observing what others are doing before I even got cryptocurrency myself. And within that time, Gary Vee was actually doing a giveaway. And I actually ended up being gifted my Veefriend from Gary Vee.
No way, Valerie. That's such a cool story.
Yeah.
Oh, that is so awesome. So you did get a Veefriend and you didn't even have to spend ETH on it.
I didn't. So that afforded me the opportunity to like, okay, now I have it in my MetaMask.
Yep.
Okay, this is similar to an airdrop, if you
Yep.
will. I didn't have to pay anything. But then that's when I was more curious. Well, how does this work? When you do have cryptocurrency, where do you go to buy your NFTs? All of it. And so I took, like I said, my 50 hours of research very seriously. And I started following some people that I felt like I could trust and go on this journey with. So, of course, Keegan was one of the people I started going on this journey with, Gary Vee, and just really started in that Veefriends community. Like I said, they were just very welcoming, which oftentimes I find in the NFT space, because I feel like we're all just trying to make it together. There's that saying, wag me, which is we're all going to make it. So for the most part, I feel like people are very genuine and willing to help and guide you.
Absolutely. If you are in the right community, and you'll know if you're in the right community because you at that point you need to trust your spidey senses. And if something is sounding too good to be true type of thing and there's not a lot of engagement, because if it's a real true NFT community, you will see a lot of engagement from the members, not just the project owners or the people trying to push the project. So what Valerie's talking about is real. And it's interesting because I didn't know that in your story about how you got airdropped your very first NFT. And that's my story, is I got airdropped my very first NFT from my favorite NFT project, which is kind of cool how you did it with yours. So I was like, okay, what do I do with this? I kept looking at it every single morning.
Yeah, and it was unbelievable. So, Gary Vee's project, I would say, is probably different because he does have a following already in his normal life. And so his project was very successful. So when I first got that NFT, no joke, at its height, it was worth about $120,000.
Wow.
And that's when I was like, there is something going on here. And let me tell you, like if you go look up the Veefriends project and you go on OpenSea, which is the secondary market where you can go look up these projects, you'll see they literally look like a doodle, like a 5-year-old.
You have one right behind you.
Oh, yeah. So these are some of them. These are not mine. These are actually my boyfriend Keegan's. But two here are from the Veefriends. So you can tell they're just like scribbles. They're just drawings. And so I have one very similar, and it was worth $120,000 at its height. And it's still worth, even through, a little dip here, it's still worth quite a lot. So there are opportunities, but again, not every project will do that. You really have to put in the time to research the team. Are they qualified? And if they're not qualified, do they have the capital to hire a team to do all the things that they say they're going to do with their NFT project?
Absolutely. And Valerie, you bring up a great point here that I really want you to touch on is, yes, Valerie has a doodle, like she, behind her, but she actually owns the real NFT version of that doodle. That doodle is something Gary Vee would do when he's on like phone calls, or meetings. He would just doodle on sketch pads. And these things are, like she said, going for huge amounts of money. One, because of who he is, and a lot of people do follow him. And so there's a lot of value in that. But the other aspect, it's not just because they want a cool dragonfly or like a cool little tiger, but really because of what that NFT means. So Valerie is a holder of that NFT, which offers her a lot of perks. So let's go into a little bit of the utility of NFTs, because I think people get really caught up on like, why would anybody in their right mind spend $100,000 on a like kindergarten drawing of a tiger? Or, that little like random doodle that you have back there, but it's the utility that gives it that value.
And utility is such a huge thing that I think, you asked me, I think you said something like, what do I hope for in the future?
Yes.
And so I just hope that people continue to build the utility if they have an NFT project that they're releasing. So Gary Vee was, I feel like, ahead of his time because he already had utility built into his NFTs. So whether you were gifted the NFT or you bought it, inside the smart contract, and I don't know if we need to do some education on what smart contract is.
I'm doing a whole episode on smart contracts, but we could do a small definition.
Sure, I'll try my best. But the way I like to think of it is just like it's the terms of agreement that you may read, like, for example, on a website. It shows you the guidelines of, what you're getting out of using a product or a service. And so that's what a smart contract is, but it's just using, instead of English language, it's using a computer code called Solidity. So anyways, in the smart contract, I was able to get access to Vee Con for the next 3 years. So Vee Con was going to be a conference put on by Gary Vee. And so that gave me access for 2022, 23, and 24. And so we just had the first one in May in Minnesota and Minneapolis.
Did you go?
I did. And it was amazing. And man, that was like my 1-year anniversary. And I can't tell you how far I've gone so far into my journey and the connections I've made. And I feel like it will be a whole nother conversation. But just quickly, I was able to have a meeting with Huda from the makeup brand Huda Beauty and Eva Longoria. And so they're just getting into the NFT space as well. So they had a invite only women's breakfast. So I was able to go and just connect with phenomenal, talented, and brilliant women that are doing great things in the NFT space.
I love it.
Unknowingly, even though that wasn't written into the smart contract of the Veefriend character, by going to his conference, I was able to get so much value out of just going and the type of people you connect with, you network with. But also, he has plans for all these different characters. I mean, this one is the daring dragon. This one is the consistent cougar. And all of his characters are based on like values, like empathy and kindness. And so he has just said, throughout the next 45 years, because this is a long-term, plan for him, a long-term project, is to build out the utility as he goes. So even things that are not necessarily in the smart contract, you may be getting utility. Like I know the very first thing that I remember him dropping was there was a character called Perspective Pigeon, and he actually collaborated with a very well-known street fashion artist named Jeff Staple, and his symbol for his brand is a pigeon. So they collabed together, and for every person that held a Perspective Pigeon NFT got free merch from Jeff Staple. So they got like the Staple pigeon hat, hoodie, all this stuff. And so that was like, everyone was super excited because this is coming from someone who has quite a long career and who has also been down the road of seeing, the internet develop. So so I feel like Gary was ahead of his time and going through the utility. And so I just hope to see more projects offer things like that.
I definitely think that that's where we're headed for sure, is there will be the utility aspect. And one thing Gary Vee does speak about a lot is that, people who get really caught up on Bitcoin's going to zero and they're running around the streets holding signs, kind of like the people on the street corner, like Jesus saves, and they're with their blow horns, it's like those are the same people, not the same people, but there are people like that are out there running around like, you guys are crazy getting into this cryptocurrency. And what they completely failed to realize, and what this whole podcast is about, is blockchain. It's blockchain technology that NFTs and cryptocurrency are built upon. The smart contracts that Valerie just mentioned is possible because of blockchain technology. And, with the NFTs and what Gary is saying, to get back to that point, is he says, you will be transacting with NFTs regardless of even if you know about it or not. You know, when you scan that QR code on your phone to get it, like board your plane, that is going to be an NFT. In the coming years, that will be an NFT. And there may not be any cool utility per se with that, but it might be a cool picture of Salt Lake, Utah, Salt Lake City, or, you know, wherever you're traveling to, like, so you don't have these random, just like Southwest or, you know, Delta or whatever, just on your phone. It's like, oh, cool memories from it. And so there is definitely, I agree with you that I think more projects now are starting to go, oh, shoot, we better offer them something, you know, because they're not just going to throw their money at this project unless we offer it. But also the thing to keep in mind is now, because utility is such a hot topic because of what Gary Vee did. And like you said, he was very ahead of his time in that aspect, instead of just having like a profile photo of a monkey or a profile photo of like random animal. He did create the utility aspect. And now a lot of people are following suit. So you really have to do what Valerie just said also earlier, was do due diligence, do your own research, check out the team, make sure they're, you know, like really going to propel this project forward and going to make it happen long term, like you said, 45 years, versus just coming in, you know, what's going to last for the next 6 months? Where can I make a quick buck? That doesn't matter. So, yeah. So you started an entire group here in San Diego, which I didn't even hear anything about until I went to San Diego NFT Con. April, and then I got to see you speak, and I was like, what? San Diego's got their own like NFT group. And mind you, my first NFT I got in February. I had cryptocurrency like all of 2021, but got my very first NFT airdrop to me in February 2022. And then I heard you speak, and you're like, yeah, San Diego NFT Friends. And I'm like, what? So anyways, got to my first like meetup group last month. Got to kind of meet you briefly, connect with you, and then we met again at another event. So tell us more about San Diego NFT Friends, and for those of us who are local, how we can get involved.
Yeah, so just to give a little background on how that even started, and again, this is going to tie back to Veefriends. So early on, you know, the Discord was crazy in Veefriends. The chat was just going wild, and Gary Vee would pop in every now and then and say, hey, put your name, your location, your occupation, and some of your passions. And slowly I began to see that there was a lot of people saying that they were located in San Diego. So I would reach out to them and I would say, hey, we should meet up. I'm in San Diego as well. And so everyone was like, yeah, let's do it. But then no one was doing anything about it. So I was like, all right, I guess I'll be the one to take action. So that's when I actually had to go and learn Discord myself. I YouTubed it, how to build my own Discord. And it first became a Veefriends meetup group. And so we did that for a couple months. And then it started to grow wider. And there were many people who didn't even have a Veefriends, because at the time, I mean, it still is, you know, very unreachable for a lot of people. It's worth those NFTs are worth a lot of money. So there are a lot of people who are feeling excluded from that and saying like, I don't have a Veefriend and I don't know if I'm welcomed at the meetups. And I'm like, of course you are. Like, I want to talk with people who are just interested in the space in general. So that's when I decided to rename the group into San Diego NFT Friends. And then that's when I truly saw like an explosion of people across all the platforms. So now we're on Discord, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and Meetup and Eventbrite. So, and it's been wonderful. So we have meetups at least once every month. And I just try to choose places that are local in San Diego. But if people reach out to me and say, hey, can you do something a little bit more up north, maybe in Oceanside or maybe more south in Chula Vista, I have no problem going ahead to accommodate that just because I want to connect with people. And I know oftentimes, you know, I'm lucky my boyfriend is in this space with me, so we can talk NFTs all day long. Obviously, he has his NFTs on the wall, so he's just as crazy as I am. But there's many people who aren't able to share that excitement with others because maybe their family or their friends are not in it right now. So I just love trying to connect with others, and so that they're able to express their excitement and share their ideas. So yeah, that's what we do. We meet at least once every month, and right now, because it's summer, we're spending a lot of time outdoors. So the one that you just attended, we were at a bonfire at
Mhm.
South Mission Beach, and then this upcoming one, which will be on Saturday, August 27th,
Yeah.
we'll be at Savita Park. So we'll be outdoors and picnicking.
Yeah. I know. I can't wait. I already registered for that. I'm like, this is going to be exciting. I already have it on my calendar. So very fun. And it was really cool too. One thing I have to say about my experience there, and if you guys aren't local to the San Diego area, obviously if you come into town, there is a community here for you. But it's also something to think about. Maybe Valerie is saying something and you're like, wow, I should create a community like this in my own hometown and have a place where people can talk about different projects or things that they're very passionate about. And what I really enjoyed about that meeting was getting to hear about projects that I've heard of, but didn't really know a lot of the backstory, because you can get kind of left in the dark person, like so to speak, in Discord even. So
Yeah.
there were some Discord channels that I was in that your boyfriend is also in. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't even know anything about, I don't know this project. And he went through the whole storyline with me on the whole 10K T or
Yes.
10K T, what is it?
TF.
TF?
Yeah.
Yeah.
TF. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've been in their Discord for a while, but if you don't engage with the Discord, then you don't know what's happening, and you'll just get
Yeah.
all these notifications and you're like, what? But then I was able to share a project with him that I'm super passionate about and that I like get excited about. And I'm like, I know every little character and I know all the little storyline for everything, you know? And so
Yeah.
you get to learn, because there are a million and one different NFT projects and a lot of people with all these different ideas about doing different things. Not all of them, like Valerie said, are going to carry the value that a Veefriends does. And not all of them are going to go to the moon. They may
Right.
actually go to zero. And
Yes.
so if you are looking into a project, it's fun to come to those kind of communities and be like, hey, I looked into this, or I saw this, someone was talking about it. Anybody hear anything about this? Like, what do you guys think about it? You're
Yeah.
able to run ideas, back and forth with people in a sense of having that community. And then it's cool too, because there was somebody there at that bonfire that night that didn't know anything, but got to sit there as a fly on the wall and really kind of soak it all in, like where you were in the lunch or the cafeteria studying, or wherever you were on campus, and your boyfriend coming at you like, you got to do this, and you're like, what?
Right.
She got to sit there and like kind of listen to everybody talk, and and just really like soak it all up. So having that sense of community, not only just on Discord virtually, but like also in person, is so valuable and so key. So I
Yeah.
think that's super. Kudos to you for stepping up and putting yourself in that role and getting everybody together, because it's
Yeah.
super
Yeah,
powerful.
thank you. And for anyone listening, and like you said, like for anyone who's thinking about whether, they need to start one or they're looking for something like that, I definitely think that this is what carries the project, are the communities,
Mhm.
especially now when things are taking a dip and, things are high inflation. What do you do? What do you do with these NFT that you're holding on to? And are they going to lose value or not? But I think the real value is connecting with people in the community, and seeing how maybe someone can support you or how you can support them. You never know. And, it could be as small as just having a Zoom meetup. It doesn't even have to be in person. There's always ways to figure things out. And literally anyone can reach out to me. And I've already helped set up some meetup groups in Asia and Florida, and soon in Boston. So
Nice. Look
yeah.
at you. I love it.
So I'm totally open to helping anyone, come up and brainstorm with some ideas of how you can start your own meetups in your area.
That is so powerful. That's amazing. Okay, so I know you talked a lot about Veefriends and the benefits, not only just to be able to go to Vee Con like you did, but the like outer benefits of meeting and connecting with people. But this might be a curveball, but do you have any other favorite projects besides Veefriends that you are like kind of looking into, or maybe you hold a piece of?
Yeah. That's a really good question, because I've taken a seat, a back seat to like the NFT world, because right now I am really focused on building my community, and we'll probably get into it in a little bit.
Yeah.
But I'm putting on a conference here in San Diego, so I'm really focusing on that. But since you mentioned earlier, Keegan was talking your ear off about 10K ETFs. Literally, that's what I hear in my house. I can bet you he's downstairs in the kitchen on a Twitter space right now with the 10K ETF people. Like,
Oh, that's so, yeah.
but it is one of my other favorite projects because of the storyline that they're
Yes.
building up. So that's something else that I'm also focusing and like observing in the space, is the storyline. So just as much as the utility of an NFT project matters, I also think a storyline. So 10K TF, man, I could never summarize it in such a short amount of time, because it's the storyline's crazy. But basically, it takes place in the metaverse, if you will, in the digital space, in a space called New Tokyo. So it has very anime-like Japanese style artwork and storyline. And so the founders of that project, one of the founders, his name is Guy Osiri, who is also the founder of Bored Ape Yacht Club. And then Beeple is also involved, who sold like the first highest selling NFT art piece. And then there's some other people that are involved, but they do have a well experienced and creative team behind the project. And so I went to NFT NYC, and they had a party in Brooklyn, and man, that just blew my mind, because they made the atmosphere feel like you were in New Tokyo with the characters. They made it neon, glow in the dark, fog. So there's like a part of the storyline where you're supposed to enter into the metaverse through a portal. And so that's literally how you entered the party. There was this like scientist dressed up, and he lined up everybody, almost like if it was a speakeasy, how they do like a scene and improv in there. So he opened up the door, and as soon as he opened up the door, it was like all this fog just came out, and you really felt like you're walking into a whole nother universe and through a portal. And they had all their alcoholic drinks named after characters as well. And they released a trailer that I'm excited for, and I'm hoping that it'll actually be a movie, because the quality, the cinematography of that trailer that they released really showed you the talent that the team really does have, which I have not seen in any other NFT project. So yeah, just to end with that, like 10KTF is something that I'm really excited for. And they have a really good, welcoming community too, which, I feel like, I'm always going to compare to Veefriends, I feel like, because that was my first entry. But 10KTF does have a really, really welcoming community.
Oh, that's so beautiful. I was like getting so excited as I'm like on the edge of my seat, like, wow, I definitely, I mean, Keegan was pretty selling, that night about it.
We'll go way more
sold on it. I'm like, I got to get in this Discord. I got to figure this out. But I definitely need to look, you're triggering that all back up for me. I'm like, I need to like get in there and look at it some more too. So
It's Thursday, by the way. Every Thursday they release a new part of the storyline. So I haven't checked. I don't know what's going on, but I'm sure there's something going on today with the 10KTF.
I gotta go in there and look right now. Or after this, not right now. But yeah, wow, it's really, really fascinating. And I really like the thing that gets me, like, not only just, I mean, these so many opportunities, and you mentioned really early on about how early we are in the space and how early people who are still coming on board. And you and I both, one of the things at the last event that we were talking about that we connected on is really helping women, like onboard women into the space, because your story starts out with a guy your boyfriend telling you, getting all excited, telling you to get involved in something and you had no idea, like WTF, like what is this? Yeah. My journey starts the same way with a guy telling me to get in the space while I was in grad school, similar to you, while I was in grad school. I'm like, I'm on a student loan budget. Like there's no way in heck. If you can tell me what Ethereum is, then I'll get in. He had no answer because he was also onboarded into the space by a friend, homie of his, who just told him to buy, and he was telling me to buy. When I finally got in, which was many years later, 2021 from 2017, it was also a friend of mine, guy friend. Get in, get in. I was like, not this guy, not these people. Fine, let me check the box. Like, check the box, you know, because at that point I was like, I'll throw in $100, whatever. Like, get off my back. Like, I'm in it. Bye. But honestly, what I've fallen in love with is everything you just spoke about. Like when you say, like the community, the people you meet, like the people who are like, literally you're sharing life stories with these people. It's not just like, hey, cool, I got my, you know, I don't even remember the name, the dragonfly and the
daring dragonfly and the consistent cougar.
There you go. Like daring dragonfly and consistent cougar. Like it's cool you have those pieces, but these people become your friends. These people become like so like you're willing to support them through whatever stages of life. And I found that to be the case with like myself, like through this journey, like the people that I've connected with, not even just here in San Diego, but like worldwide that are doing incredible, amazing, life-changing things in the space. And not only that, like, yes, we are in a bear market and yes, things have dropped in value. And everything has. It's not just in this space. Everything has dropped in value in terms of the stock market and, you know, everything is going. But we have community here. We have support. We have amazing, incredible people. And it just excites me because not only can you build like some significant like financial generational wealth, but you get to meet your best friends. You get to like meet like your people. and that's why, you know, I like you and I, you know, mentioned about helping the ladies come into the space. And that's the point I was trying to get or wanting to like share more is really ladies, you know, I did a whole episodes on ladies, what you need to know when you're getting into this space. What would be your one thing that you would tell a woman, you know, or someone who identifies as a woman, like if she's sitting on the sidelines and just trying to like figure this all out, what would you say? Kind of being able to go back in time looking at Valerie at the time Keegan presented that with you to like who you are now, what you know now. What would you say?
Wow, that's a really, really good, but also loaded question because I don't know if I could even just pick one thing. Because when I hear you asking me this question, I do think of my sister, right? I said, you know, it's just me and my younger sister, and I'm still trying to look for ways to onboard her. She's still not fully into the space, but I see how important I think it is, you know, as we're, you know, coming into this future of technology, but also, like you said, generational wealth, the opportunities that could be here for her, you know, once I'm gone and for her and her children. So, you know, some of the things that I'm doing is just inviting her into the space. You know, I'm not being forceful. I'm not, you know, drowning everything out with just like NFTs this, NFTs that. You know, I did invite her to the Vee Con conference. And, you know, just to share a little bit. So my sister and I are actually complete opposites. I'm very extroverted. She's very introverted. And so she's always been someone who's been very quiet and doesn't share her feelings often. So you could imagine it was even more tough when my mom passed away. You know, here I am sharing my feelings, seeking therapy, going through that process, but she really kept a lot of things to herself. So, you know, I told her going to Vee Con, you know, people are going to know who we are. I share often about our story and you're involved and you're my motivation of why I'm in this space. But I just want you to know it's out of love. And so when she went to Vee Con, Oh my goodness, I saw a different side of her I've never seen in my life. She was like a mini me. She was very
Oh
extroverted, making
my God.
friends. She was supposed to, it was like we were there. I was supposed to be there from like Wednesday or Thursday all the way until Monday. She was supposed to be there only until Saturday, so she was going to leave earlier. But she made such like good and fun connections with people that she actually extended her stay.
Great.
She stayed all the way through with me. And so I think one of the things is that it was a welcoming and inviting space. And it just wasn't coming from me. It was coming from other people who are like, oh my goodness, I've heard so much about you. And I'm so sorry. And she felt
Yeah,
comfortable to express anything that she wanted to, whether it was my mom about my mom or not. She got to feel herself.
right.
So going back to what I think is important for when women come into the space is that men and women and people of all different types of background allow women to feel themselves and welcomed. I know oftentimes in the early days of the NFT clubhouse days, there would
Mhm.
be, these big large communities that are talking, but a lot of the time it was men, and women didn't feel, I feel like women didn't feel welcomed, or if they were on stage they weren't acknowledged. They weren't like,
Yeah.
oh, hi, I see you here. And so I feel like we need to make sure that we're mindful that
Mhm.
when we see even a new person, it doesn't have to be a female, but because we're talking about women here, I do think we need to be mindful and allow them to feel comfortable. I know oftentimes we can be in our little bubble and we're just, in our tunnel vision.
Mhm.
But I really stress to make sure that when you see someone new, or you see someone maybe who looks a little timid but kind of curious, to welcome them in. I think that's honestly the first step. And you don't even have to talk their ear off about NFTs, because it's going to be a journey. It's a
Yeah,
process. I'm
yeah,
still learning about the technology.
as we all are.
Yeah. So, you can't expect that person that you're inviting is going to understand all of the terminology. So really, I think it's showing them, if you can, the IRL experience, and if not, just invite them into a Twitter space, or into a virtual event, and so that way they can experience what it's like to connect with real humans, real human beings. You know,
Absolutely.
yeah, so it can be hard, right? Like once you're out of your schooling years, it's hard to make friends. It's hard to make connections. And so I just think the NFT space is a great place to do that now.
Yeah,
So yeah, when I think of onboarding women and getting women into the spaces, just start off by saying hello and welcoming them in, acknowledge them.
I love it.
Um,
That's such a great answer because it's one that's so yes, like yes, yes, yes to everything you said, but not one that like came to mind first and foremost. And for me, and not one that other guests have mentioned. So I love it because it's brand new too. And so when people get to hear this, I hope they have the same heart feel that I had listening to you say that.
And it
So,
sounds so simple. It sounds so simple. Of course, you're going to welcome people. But honestly,
right,
I mean, there's women and minorities who often go unnoticed
right.
often. So, it's unfortunate when that might be their first experience again, when they're entering into a space where everyone's super excited and chit-chatting, and, but they're completely new. So,
Yeah.
I think we can't forget, just to say hello and make sure that we're creating a welcoming space.
That's so awesome. 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 All right, Valerie, tell us about the event that you are putting on and organizing. I'm very excited for it, by the way.
Yeah, yeah. So I am so excited. So on Saturday, October 22nd of this year, we're putting on a Web3 conference. So I'm really excited because I was part of the volunteering team for San Diego NFT Con, back in April, but that was
Mhm,
primarily focused on just the NFT community.
mhm.
With this one, with the Web3 conference, I'm working with a whole different team, but we're going to be talking about all the different branches, that is under the umbrella of Web3. So not only do you have NFTs, but you can talk about blockchain technology, privacy and security, decentralized autonomous organizations, DAOs, right?
Yeah.
DeFi, DeSci. Crypto law, business and entrepreneurship. I mean, you name it. We really have a lot of topics that we're excited to curate with panelists and speakers. So this will be held at the San Diego Central Library right in Gaslamp in downtown. And it will be just a one day. So on Saturday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. And then later that evening, we're going to have an after party at the rooftop. So I'm really excited, and we're just really getting started. We just put down the deposit for the venue. We submitted our application for grants, and so now we're starting to reach out to speakers and panelists. So I'm super excited to see who we're gonna get, and I'm excited because like I'm really trying to think of the people who are complete beginners. So even offering this conference free to the public, that's what I'm hoping that we can deliver, because oftentimes, I don't know if you've gone to any conferences, but those conferences I feel like exclude a lot of people because those tickets can be so expensive. And so we really want to make sure that we're catering just to the general public, just so people can be more aware of the technology that Web3 uses. So we're hoping to make this conference free for the general public and provide talks that will just give basic knowledge on how to set up your MetaMask, what is an NFT, how to protect yourself from scams and hacks. And then we're hoping to curate a second level where we'll have more in-depth technical panelists and speakers, where now we can start talking about, okay, maybe you have your NFT and maybe you're looking to drop an NFT yourself, but what are some of the things that you should think about that I feel like people don't think about? Like, how do you protect your copyright, your trademark in the NFT world? You know, is there something you have to think about when you're putting on your minting page? When you have a minting page, you still have to abide to the policy and privacy laws and stuff like that. So I'm excited to get experienced speakers who are in the space. And that's something else that I'm excited to offer, because oftentimes in some of the other conferences I've been to, it seems like they just put on anyone and everyone. And where I can see the benefit of that, if it's someone who's speaking for the first time and just trying to you know, get rid of their stage fright or, you know, speak for the first time. But again, when you're paying so much for a conference ticket and you're just going to see someone who maybe doesn't have it all together, then you're kind of like, okay, why am I even here? Most of the time people find value in the satellite events, because again, it's the community and the networking that happens after the conference. So I'm really trying to think about how can we provide valuable topics that people will actually leave with, hopefully a better understanding of the technology, and hopefully come out inspired to do something or to buy their first NFT possibly. And then I'm also excited. We're going to have some workshops. So we're going to have a workshop for Solidity for beginners. So I want to attend that one because I want to know how to at least read it. I don't expect myself to understand
it all.
But just to get used to the computer language, and to maybe hopefully identify some things that look right, that should be in the smart contract, and maybe identify things that shouldn't be there, right? So I'm excited for that. And we're going to also offer 2 other workshops. One where how to build NFT assets for the metaverse. And then a second workshop is how to render your NFTs for the metaverse. So those are 3 workshops I'm excited for. And then of course we'll have a hackathon. So for people who are into, you know, the developing side and all that, we're going to have a hackathon.
That's incredible. Very excited for it. Happy to help in any way that I can. So definitely. And then by the time, when do you think you'll have the website up for ticket sale or for registration? Because I know you're trying to get it free for the public, but if somebody is interested in attending, this episode will probably drop in 3 to 4 weeks.
Okay.
So maybe, and I can probably push it up if I need to. But anyways, where can they go? Is there a site that they could go to if they are interested in attending that event?
Yeah, so our website is live right now. We're still working on some tweaks. So if you're going on there now and it doesn't look all pretty and done up, don't worry, we're working on it. But the website is www.web3.sd. And so if you're also interested in speaking or being a sponsor, we have forums on there as well. But then hopefully we'll put on more information on who our speakers will be.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Valerie. That's awesome. I'm very excited about attending that event with you. So yay. Anything else you would like to throw in before we close this ride down for today?
Well, thank you so much, Brooke, for having me on here. It's been wonderful, and I hope the listeners have gotten a lot of value out of it. And if you're looking to find me and reach out to me, my DMs are open. You can reach out to me at vdizzle777 on all social platforms. And yeah, I'm just excited to connect. And, even if you're not in the San Diego area, but you're planning to visit, feel free to reach out to me, and I would love to host a meetup around your visit and just introduce you into the community we have here.
Awesome. And I'll put all your information too in the show notes, as well as the link for the conference for people to easily have access to. So thank you so much, Valerie. I really appreciate your time today. This has been so much fun. I love chatting woman to woman and, just NFT, geeky blockchain stuff. And I really do, just like Valerie said, I really hope that you got a lot of value from this and just really feel our hearts and know that we are coming at you, or you can come at us with welcoming arms. We're ready to accept you wherever you are and help you along the journey, because we need more of you. We need more of us here. Yes. So on that note, as we pull this ride into the station, thank you so much for taking this journey with us through the wild, wild west of Web3. And we will see you on the next one. Have a great day.
Bye.
You made it. Congratulations. That wasn't so bad, was it? I hope you laughed and learned a little bit more about this Web3 universe and how simple and fun it can really be. Would you be so kind as to leave us a review and share it with your friends and family? It would mean so much to get this out to more people as we embark on the greatest transfer of wealth that has ever happened in human history. Can't wait to see you on the next one.